Nandan, sir, from School of Management Studies, Motilal Nehru National Institute of Technology, Allahabad, where he is also faculty in charge of Training and Placement Cell, MNNIT. As he used to love numbers, he has completed his BSc in Statistics from HS Gore University, Sagar, whereas MBA from Institute of Management Studies, Devi Ahilya University, in financial management, and PhD from Department of Business Management from HS Gore University, Sagar, in financial management. He is a man of perfection. This is not what everyone says. This is what my personal experience, because it's impossible to not get noted if you even commit a small mistake. He is one of a smart, humble, and friendly teacher. Now over to you, sir. It's my honor to hear you today.
Thank you so much, Soumya. Teacher होने की कोशिश करता हूँ. Okay. Right. So my esteemed colleagues on the panel, Dr. Himanshu, who has just, I think, departed for some other preoccupied this thing, but Dr. Sakshi, head of the department, Dr. Girish Nandan Sharma, and the very dynamic organizing committee, Dr. Dharen and Dr. Vinita, and all the participants here. As always, a pleasure to be between fellow learners, among fellow learners. And I had requested Dharen to give me a breakup of a rough idea of what the participants were like. And I find that it's a very good mix of faculty, researchers, PhD holders. So people who are either involved in conducting research or supervising research, or mostly of both. And it's always very useful to attend a program like this. You get so many teachers. I was going through the schedule that has been given out, and you get so many people coming in from so many different disciplines. And there's a lot of stuff that you get in textbooks and other books. But then when you attend programs like these, there's a lot of stuff that you get out of the experience that comes with these people who talk to you. And today I'll just share, I have just about 10 minutes with you. So I'll share some things from my personal experience and also from the experience of some other people. So in fact, I'll start with the very, very privileged meeting that I had with Professor C.N.R. Rao. Professor Rao is, one of the leading researchers in India, so many publications, so much of work. And I met him on a one-to-one basis just prior to the time that he was conferred the Bharat Ratna. And we were speaking to him in a small gathering, and he said something which I always like to share with my researchers and my colleagues. And he said something which actually Himanshu ji also echoed right now. He said that in research, it is very normal and very common to face hurdles, to come across problems. In fact, if you don't find a time when you are doubting yourself as a researcher, it's quite likely that you might be doing something wrong. So what he's saying, please don't misinterpret this. It's not as if when everything is going well, you're making a mistake. But if you are doing research, it is very normal for you and very natural in the course of events for you to face self-doubts, for you to have question marks in your mind. And therefore, if you are going through that phase, it's very normal. Himanshu just mentioned that he came across, when he had collected all his data, and he came across a situation where he felt that his data set might not be right, or the data collected might not be right. And he used the term introspective reflection. In fact, he was wise enough to shelve 6 months or more of research and then go back. So these kind of events will happen, these kinds of incidents will happen. It's never wrong if you are in self-doubt, because it's like going through a dark field. When you're going through a research process, you are going through an area which possibly has not been traversed very frequently. So not a lot is known about that area, and therefore there will be many questions. Your supervisors are there to help you out. Your seniors are there to help you out. But for the most part of it, you will have to find your own way. And for that, again, programs such as these are useful. It's also sometimes very confusing. We are talking about research methodology. This is a workshop on methodology. So especially when it comes to methodology, as a researcher, you will often find that you have a doubt in your mind regarding what technique, what tool to pick up. And this can be a big question mark. Many of those those of us who are doing research in management or economics or commerce or allied fields, social sciences or even life sciences, we don't necessarily have a background in statistics. And even for those of us who do have a background in statistics, there are so many techniques that are available. There are quantitative techniques and there are non-quantitative techniques, all of which are very good. But the point here is that it can sometimes be overwhelming because you don't know which one to choose. And then when you start off, particularly for the young PhDs, one of the big questions is there are so many techniques available. How do I find out about all of these? How do I navigate amongst all of these? And there are so many prerequisites and so many precautions, and then there are so many ways of interpreting. So what I'm saying here is that actually you do not need to master all of the techniques. The best way to go about it is to give it a lot of time. And when you're doing your PhD, you actually have that time to explore. And that is why you have this time to initially do your coursework, explore your topic before you finalize it, speak with your supervisor, and think about what the best methodology is. You also do a lot of literature review, so you get a fair idea of the kind of methodology that is being followed in this area. And although it's not necessary that you always go down the beaten track, you don't always have to follow what everyone else is doing. But by the time you are past this stage, or by the time you're going through this stage, you have developed sufficient understanding to be able to discern whether a technique is worth it or whether you need to go ahead and find a different technique. So you have a fair choice of techniques. But once you have selected a technique, it is important that you understand the prerequisites of that technique, what goes into that technique. If it's a quantitative technique, for example, I was going through again the schedule that has been given, and you'll be studying techniques like correlation or principal component analysis. So when you're using a data set, then if you're doing that kind of analysis, a particular kind of analysis, please make sure that you know of the prerequisites. So if you're doing, for example, if you're applying a parametric test, then you know that you are assuming that your data set follows certain parameters. That's an assumption, but you also need to test whether that is correct or not. So there are certain prerequisites before you can take every set of data for a particular test. Also, there's a substantial amount of software that is available today. Possibly 20 years ago when I was doing my PhD, that kind of freedom was not there. We did not have such a lot of software or databases. You have software that is available both for qualitative research and for quantitative research. So you have these, if I had a student who had actually gone about doing it in a qualitative manner, and he had recorded videos, lots of video interviews. We were doing a study on urban poor. So poor people who live in urban settings. And we had gone about doing video recordings, and then he came up with a software which allowed him to analyze the recordings and to find common patterns amongst those recordings. So you have these available, and you have plenty of software available for quantitative data analysis, be it something rather quite simple. Even Excel is very powerful today for doing data analysis, but then you have SPSS, you have SAS, you have MOS, you have all of these, Lisrel, you have MATLAB, so many of these. But what I have observed is that sometimes the researchers tend to become too dependent upon the software, and therefore they use the software exactly like what it is designed to be. A software is really designed to be like a black box. So you give it inputs, it does some processing, and it will give you an output. And you don't always know what the processing is about, and you don't even bother what it is about. You don't know about it. This can be a little bit of a misleading way to go into, because if you're too dependent on the software, it will give you an output and you will use that output in your final results, but you might find that those output is not valid simply because the data that you supplied it is also not valid. So we've all studied about GIGO, garbage in and garbage out. So you give it the wrong inputs, it will give you the wrong outputs, and thereby you can go wrong in your research. So therefore, I always give this small piece of advice that whenever you sit down and pick up a technique, even if it is your software that is doing the analysis for you, please make sure that you understand what is going on at the back end. So also make sure that you understand that the prerequisites of that analysis are being met, etc., etc. So it's very important to actually be sure that what you are giving to the software is correct. Only then will the output from the software be right. The next thing that you need to bear in mind is what Dr. Sakshi talked about in her initial speech. She said that you apply certain tests, and Dr. Himanshu actually elaborated upon those tests. So apart from those tests, one of the things that you need to understand is what are the managerial implications of my research in the applied field. Very frequently we get feedback from reviewers, from thesis reviewers or paper reviewers saying that, okay, you've done a lot of good work, you've put in a lot of hard work as well, your analysis is very good, but the section that talks about implications means that, okay, this is what you have found, but how does it apply to the field? What for the audience, what is the takeaway? If someone is reading my paper or my thesis, what does he learn out of it? You have not spent a lot of time explaining that. And actually, through this process of research, as a researcher, you have learned enough to be able to put that into words. So please make sure that when you're putting a thesis together, when you're putting a paper together or any research output together, you focus sufficiently on the application or the implications of your work to the applied field. So in the area of management, we talk about managerial implications, and it is important to actually have a look at the managerial implications. And both my previous speakers, Dr. Sakshi and Dr. Himanshu, they actually spoke about this. You need to have an audience. It needs to appeal to an audience. You're more careful about this when you write a research paper, because you know that you have targeted a journal. When you send your paper to the journal, the editor will say, okay, we have received your paper, and I'm not saying anything about the quality of the work, but the area that you have researched or the outcomes that you have talked about, our audience, the people who subscribe to our journal, don't really take a lot of interest in those areas. So when you typically sit down to write a research paper, you will find that you have done enough work in making sure that your topic and your area of research is in accordance with the audience of the journal. But that sometimes becomes lacking in other areas of research, like writing a PhD thesis. We have just completed 4 days of interviews where we were speaking for PhD interviews. So we were speaking to prospective candidates. And I do agree, I think Dr. Sakshi mentioned that, yes, the quality of the proposals is getting better. But at the same time, and it's not really expected, because at the time you're applying for your research, you don't know a lot of these things. And that's why, where I come back to what I originally said, workshops like these are very useful. But we find that the kind of topic that they have chosen is really very short-sighted, because it doesn't have a long shelf life, for one thing. There's not much of an audience, there's not much of a use. So you need to remember that whatever you bring out should have some implication for society, and it should be something which is able to give a solution to an existing problem, an applied solution to an applied problem, and that solution should have a shelf life. So please remember this, keep this in mind. So therefore, the implications, the impact of the research are also very important. And before I close, I will also say that one of the sessions that you have in this workshop scheduled for you is on publication ethics. Now, this is wonderful. It's very important for us to understand, because there has been no reason for anyone to tell us so much about publication ethics so far. As long as we've been doing undergraduate or masters, research ethics has not been so important. But research ethics is really important, and that's why I think the organizers have done really well in bringing up this topic. And you have a speaker who will of course be speaking at length about it, so I'll not go into the details. But all I'll say before I close is please make sure that you respect the research ethics, because it is important ethically. It is also very important for your longevity as a researcher. But I will stick with the ethical part. If someone has done a piece of research and they're making it out for in the public, they're leaving it out in the public domain for others to have a look at, then it's important and it is ethical for you to acknowledge that person's contribution. So please make sure that you acknowledge others' contribution by citing them properly. Also, the aspect of ethics, possibly the speaker who is scheduled to speak upon this topic, that speaker will tell you that, and there's also a paper about how to publish. So when you are talking about publishing, please make sure that you follow a basic unwritten rule of ethics, publication ethics, which says that you should submit your work only to one publisher at a point of time. If you're submitting it to someone else, please make sure that you inform the original submission people, the people with whom you submitted it originally, you inform them or you withdraw it before they make a decision on it. So these are certain aspects of ethics, but of course you have time to learn about it in this workshop, so I'll not go into the detail. So that's a lot of knowledge to share with you already. I don't want to overwhelm you, but I believe it has been a really enriching session, at least for me. I heard Dr. Sakshi and Dr. Himanshu and of course the HOD, Dr. Girish Nandan Sharma. So I thank you very much for having me here with you. And I really hope that you have a very fruitful 5 days of learning. So thank you very much. Soumya, you are still muted.
Thank you so much, sir. I think this was a really wonderful talk, and it will help new scholars to ascertain their thesis research design as well as research methodology. They should put what they should put into their research work and what software they should use, because every software will give you some sort of result, as you said, but it's not might be relevant. So, and not only methodology but implication should also be very much considered, as laymen can also understand what you are talking about in your paper. So thank you so much, sir. Next, moving ahead, I would like to invite for the vote of thanks to of this organizing secretary of the workshop, Mrs. Vinita Kumari ma'am. She is assistant professor in the PG Department of Commerce, Magad University. I welcome you, ma'am. I welcome you, ma'am, and I request you to provide vote of thanks to the audience. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Respected dignitaries, resource persons.
Ma'am, your voice is quite low.
Officer.
Yeah. Actually, you are visible, ma'am, but your voice is quite down. It's not properly audible, ma'am.
Network problem.
Just increase the volume, ma'am.
Okay. Respected dignitaries,
Yeah.
resource persons, academicians, officers, participants, media persons, and the members of the organizing committee. A very good afternoon to all of you.
Ma'am, it's not audible again, ma'am.
Now it's audible.
Yeah, you're perfectly audible now.
Okay. On the behalf of the Postgraduate Department of Commerce, Magad University, and the Indian Accounting Association Patna branch, I, Vinita Kumari, feeling very, very privileged to propose a hearty vote of thanks to all of you for your presence, knowledge, support, motivation, and sparing your precious time to start this 1-week national online faculty development program on research methodology successfully. As we know that today our guardian and our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Rajendra Prasad sir, is not available with us due to his very urgent schedule, but his motivation and support is always with us. Thank you so much, sir, for your great support. I would like to give our hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest, Professor Himanshu Rai, sir, He's not only the director of IIM Indore, but also a great motivational speaker. So thank you so much for your precious presence. And sir, when I was listening you, I couldn't stop myself, and I was hoping that you should not end yourself, because it was very, very wonderful speech today. Thank you so much, sir. And we are very lucky to have you as our chief guest, and we'll always need your words, your motivation in future also. Hope we would go get your motivational support directly, indirectly, always. Thank you so much, sir. I would like to give a big thank you to our guest of honor, Professor Tanuj Nandan, sir, who is from School of Management Studies, MNIT, Allahabad. Thank you so much, sir, for your depth explanation and your precious time. Thank you so much, sir. It's our luck to have Dr. Sakshi Sharma as our keynote speaker, who very beautifully and deeply explained the theme of the program that has been started today. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your great explanation. I'm very thankful to all your knowledge, your explanation, your clear and very understanding explanation, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'm very thankful to all the resource persons who are present here and going to enlighten us with their enlightening knowledge. Thank you so much. I would like to thank the All India executive members and branch members of IAA. Your presence always needed. Thank you so much for your support. I would like to thank our IA Patna branch executive members and all members for their support and coordination. I would like to thank our organizing committee members, without whom any program is impossible to get its success. Thank you so much, our organizing members, committee members. I would especially give my thanks to our today's coordinator, Soumya, who is very active and supportive and always shares. Thank you, Soumya, for your always coordination. I would like to thank our participants who are present here for a hope to get knowledge and guidance from our experts, resource persons. We are going to make you available our great experts from all over India. So we all are very lucky. I would like to give my thanks to all the media persons present here who are always spreading our programs to the masses, so that a big section of academicians is joining us continuously. I'm thankful to our students and all the persons present here. I would like to give my big thanks to our head and dean, Professor Girish Nandan Sharma sir, Professor Girish Nandan Sharma sir, who is always motivating us, supporting us, and always directly, indirectly encouraging us to do these programs. And we are getting success day by day. And the last but not the least, we all are thankful to our dearest colleague, Dr. Dharen Kumar Pandey sir, who is continuously in search of something deep and new and great academic activities. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, all of you. Have a great time. Stay safe. Thank you.
Amma, you are not audible.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful vote of thanks to all the esteemed dignitaries, media persons, coordinators, and all the participants. Now, I once again thank all the dignitaries for joining with us for this session. Thank you, everyone. Now, again, we will meet on 12:55 p.m. for the first session on writing a research proposal by Dr. Saurabh Chandra, Associate Professor, Indian Institute of Management, Indore. Now, I request all the participants to kindly join on time for their first session. Thank you so much.
The link will be same for all the sessions.